Last night, I was in Seattle, and there was another grouping like this, but it's somewhat smaller, in a place in Seattle by the University of Washington, and the place was called Red Square. So, what I want to explain with you now is something that is not being discussed, but it is the key to the whole situation. This 70th anniversary, commemorating the Great Patriotic War, which was decisive in giving humanity a future, is not just a commemoration, it is also an absolutely critical moment in world history. The celebrations that are going on in Moscow and in China and in other places are being done from not just the past, but are being done from the standpoint of the future. And to give you a sense of this, one of the attendants in Moscow is none other than the president of China, Xi Jinping. And just prior to today, an agreement was made between Russia and China to integrate the Eurasian Customs Union, the Eurasian, with the massive development plans of the new Silk Road that the Chinese are promoting for the world. This is huge. This is the beginning of a new economic system for the world that is not based on terror, it's not based on fear, it's not based on exploitation, it's not based upon terrorism being used to destroy nations so that they are too weak to develop. This is a different system. This is the system that many people thought would emerge after World War II, and it didn't, unfortunately. And in U.S. history, you had a key presidential assassination in 1963 that prevented a lot of this from happening. So now, this day is not just a commemoration of the past, it is a crucial day in establishing the moral high ground that the victors of World War II had in a world that they could have created but did not. And now this world is in the process of being created through the economic agreements between those nations who started last July in Brazil, the BRICS nations. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They're being joined by all of Latin America, most of Asia. This is a new system. And this system is not geopolitical. It is not about war. It's about bringing the entire world into harmony and economic development, which should have occurred after World War II. And the key right now is that both the United States and Canada, as well as the member nations of Europe, are posed with a choice, whether to go to war or whether to join the new system, which will massively benefit the population of every nation. And the elites who run the European and North American system, who are involved in this financial power, have to make a choice. Some of them are going to go for war. And the people here can have a voice in not just the things that our previous speakers talked about, which are important, but in getting your friends, your neighbors, and others to understand that you're not being told that a new system is coming in which will benefit everyone. And that new system is now being further established in the celebration of the victory of the Great Patriotic War. And it's that celebration which is establishing the moral high ground against the fascists, against the terrorists, against everything. And that's very important. And so that is what has to happen. The people here. Now, Canada, unfortunately, has a Nazi problem. And so does the United States. But Canada is a smaller country, and it's more obvious in certain ways. But in the United States, we have the same problem. What happened after World War II is those people who were involved in the atrocities of Hitler, who lived in Eastern Europe, they were allowed to come without having to do any atonement, without having to deal with the fact that they were involved with Hitler. They came as part of the anti-communist Cold War. And those networks became the core, part of the core of what is now today the neocons, the neoconservatives. That corruption of the victors of World War II, by allowing these people to thrive and develop as part of the Cold War, laid the foundation for their revival after the fall of the Soviet Union. This is a problem that has to be addressed, because that is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the remnants of the families and heirs of that policy. So this is where we are. And I want to give people the sense that this is not something happening in isolation. There is a new system emerging, and we have the potential to finally conclude what should have occurred at the end of World War II.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Paul.